always been that way. And it's like in even way back in the day, like jazz came out because people wanted to sound like the sound that was coming out of the black clubs. And then so white artists went to the black clubs to hear that sound, and then they took it mainstream to the white clubs.
Right.
That's always been the way it is. Same thing, comedy, dance, all
Everything.
that, fashion. That's just sort of the way it is in America. And I mean, now it's expanded even more because we have such a Hispanic population that's now being that's being seen instead of just in the background. An Indian population that's being seen not just in the background now. And you start to see that influence now too in our culture, but like Dina was saying, the white culture is still the mainstream. And so it's weird to me when we have to sort of explain to white people how the world works.
Right. Right. It's like, okay, you guys have everything. You guys have the nightclubs. You guys have all of these certain things. It's
but
like
you get it though, because when you're in it, you don't see it that way. You know what I mean? It's like that's another thing I try to, because I try to explain this to a lot of other black people. Actually, Dee Dee and I got into this conversation one time when it was just her and I, and she was not having it. But the way in which we view the world is just different because of our experiences, and it doesn't make us, either worse or better. It's just different. And a lot of places we see race and things, whatever. They don't, just because they haven't had our experience, like a lot of times we'll say, why in the world would they choose to say that with the optics, knowing how that looks? Well, that immediately pops into our mind, but that doesn't immediately pop into their mind.
Right.
And I'm even like, I feel like I'm in the middle because I'm not as sensitive, for lack of a better word, than most black people. Like I'm not dialed in so that I immediately see a lot of stuff as, this racial thing that a lot of, because that was the conversation we were having, like this certain thing. I think one of the fashion labels or somebody had did something that everybody was considering racist, and other people were like, well, I didn't see it as that or whatever. I'm kind of in the middle. So I feel like I'm kind of like this person trying to interpret for both sides, because it's like I get it on this side and I get it on that side. And I just feel like I'm this alien that's in the middle trying to translate for both sides. But
I've been so fortunate in my life, and I think that's actually where I've learned the most in life has been traveling. And I remember the very first time I went to Canada, and I woke up the next day and I went out to buy some cigarettes, and I went to a place called talk about politically incorrect, but it's Canada. It's called Fags and Mags. Fags meaning cigarettes.
Right. Yeah.
It was called Fags and Mags, and I went to get inside there, and I stood in the store, and I remember, this is the strangest, I can't explain it, but I felt no racism. My whole life, at this point, I was like 29 years old. My whole life, you could feel it was palatable when I went into a store, especially growing up in Peoria, Illinois, that I was being watched, or I was not being trusted, or I wasn't being trusted, that there was always somebody eye on me or something like that.
Right.
I remember getting my master's degree and being downtown Chicago at Nordstrom's and being followed. And that day, that morning, there was none of that. Right. I knew there was the first time in my life that I really felt like, oh, these people don't really give a damn about my skin color. They didn't even see me yet. I'm not even in the store yet. And then when the dude was dealing with me, I was just another customer. And I called my mom and I said, Mom, you got to come up here. And I flew her up there for her birthday that year. And because there is this thing in our culture and our society, and you're right about Dino, about the experience of it all. And I think that's why my own sensitivities have been from having experienced it and then having experienced it being gone, and that void of it. So I've seen both sides. I know what it can be.
Yeah.
And I also know that the difference between some of it, I have to say, a lot of the difference is the white people. It's the white people. And the white people in America that have the privilege, it's not that they're insensitive. Well, they're a little insensitive. It's not that they don't want to do the right thing. They put a lot of the onus of doing the right thing on us still. Make me feel more comfortable about racism in America. Either don't talk about it or explain it to me in great detail so I can understand it, blah, blah, blah. I was like, why don't you do something? Why don't you go educate yourself? And why don't you talk to other white people about what they're doing? Because that would really help a lot in alleviating that pressure that we feel.
Yeah.
I've been to Canada, and I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. I felt it too. But I also learned, it's funny that you mentioned Canada, because I realized, or I came to a theory about us as Americans while I was there, and I noticed that the interactions and dealing with some of their immigrants, like the Asians and different things, it was different as well.
Sure.
And then
they don't always treat the Aboriginal people that great either.
So then I was like, yeah. And so I was thinking, you know what? Maybe a lot of this tension between, like, you know, Americans and Asian immigrants and whatever, and the store owners, whatever, maybe some of that is not just on them, but on us. You know what I mean? Like, what they're picking up, you know what I mean?
I absolutely do.
Yeah, it's kind of here, because over here in Canada, these same different ethnic groups are not the same way.
No.
You know what I'm saying? They're not following me around the store here and this and that. And let me ask you this too, Pip, while we're on it, because you talked about your experience about being followed around and all that stuff. Now, you being a young black man and now being middle-aged, have you noticed a difference the way you move through society, or do you feel like it's exactly the same?
Not quite yet. Only because of my looks.
You think so?
People always discount me because they think I'm younger.
Well, yeah. Well,
and
yeah,
I got locks right now too. On top of that, so I'm a target for a lot of people. I'm a scary man to a lot of people just by my looks.
I noticed as a young person that when I put on a suit, moving through the world was a different experience.
Sure.
And then as I got older, I noticed no matter what I wear, it was just easier navigating through the world. Like, being younger was a lot worse.
When I'm downtown Los Angeles these days, and you've seen me wearing my work clothes. Mine are pretty down casual work clothes. I do a lot of physical stuff. I wear just something nice enough to be in an office. Just nice enough. And so when I'm at my lunch break and people don't know me and I don't look like some power finance person,
right?
I'm nobody to them. You know, and I don't know if necessarily that's a race thing. I think that's a class thing.
That's another interesting and good point that you brought up right there. A lot of times we as black people perceive discrimination to be about race. Sometimes it's not about race. There's other reasons people can discriminate against you. Not saying that it's better or worse or right or wrong, just saying that it's not always about race. Sometimes, a lot of times, many times, it's about that money. It's about class, you know, and who they perceive you to be.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
That comes into play in dating, and it doesn't matter to be interracial or the same race, because that happens all the time. Don't mess with nobody that makes less than this or blah, blah, blah.
You're a little quiet.
Yeah.
Because I don't agree with you guys.
Well, then say so.
Yeah, go ahead, say so.
I'm just waiting for y'all to finish.
Okay, we're finished. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't agree. I've been followed around the stores. I've been pulled over by police and had guns pulled on me just because of the type of car I've driven in. I've been mistreated at my housekeeping jobs by my clients. I've had people say things to me that are very, very, very inappropriate, and I cannot sit here as a African American woman and say, like, oh yeah, it's our responsibility as black people to fix racism, or it's our responsibility to take it on. Like, I don't feel like that's our responsibility at all. I feel like we've done so much as we could. We've marched, we've done this, we've done that, and white people, you guys still won't accept the fact that there is racism. You guys still won't accept the fact that you guys have privilege. And I feel like until we can do that, then we can't move forward. It's always going to be a situation like this. When I'm in my neighborhood, I get followed around the store. When I'm in my neighborhood, no matter what race the store is, Hispanic, Armenian, white, they always look sideways. No matter if I came in the store 50 times, they know me, they know my dog. It's because I'm black. It's no other reason. They don't know how much money I make. Sometimes they do. And they still watch you out of the side of your eye because you're black. It's not because of your class. It's not because of anything, because they don't know. They don't know how much money you make. They don't know how much money you make. And if anybody is guessing, they're just it's a guess. But they know one thing for sure, that you're black. They may not know that you're black, but they know that you're black. They know that I'm black. I've had people tell me, oh, you're not like these other black people. You're not like these other black girls. No one should ever have that said to them. Nobody should have guns pulled on them by the police just because they're in a car driving at night in their own neighborhood. That's not fair. When I come down to LA, I don't get the same looks that I get when I'm in my neighborhood. That's not right. I can tell the difference. The store owners down here on Crenshaw, they treat me nicely because they see more black people. They don't treat me better. They still watch me in the store, but they are nicer. And that is only because of my race. That is not because of how much money I make. I make good money doing what I do. I own businesses, and it's not fair that black people have to be treated like that. And white people need to understand that this is real. It's real. It's real.
All right. I don't think you disagree with us, actually, because you really just said similar to what we said. I think what Dino's point about other races was in Canada. Immigrants in Canada that own stores aren't the same as immigrants that come here and own stores.
Right. And everything that you've been through, we've been through.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
We didn't say almost everything you said is nothing that we said. So
one of my most embarrassing police experiences was with my brothers in Chicago in my neighborhood. We got stopped walking by the police, and they started frisking us before they told us anything. They started checking our pockets, and I'm like, these are my neighbors. Now my neighbors think I'm some sort of thug or something, right?
Right.
And I'm like, what's going on? They're like, and they tried to pull some bull like it was truancy or something. And I'm like, and I know we look young, but come on, like for real.
Man, time went by way faster than I thought it would.
Sure.
What the heck?
Way faster than I thought it would.
Well, you picked some deep topics.
I guess I did. I don't even know if I want to start this next topic because I don't want to like do it injustice, and I don't think we have enough time for it.
You got one more thing?
So,
or you want to just move on?
Well, I had one more kind of deep thing, and then I had some of the, like some TV and that kind of stuff. So actually, I'll say what it is. I had the trans people in sports. Actually, originally I wrote trans kids, but it's a trans people issue. But lately in the news, it's been about kids in high school.
Yeah, this is another half hour.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This ain't no quickie. So we'll put that on the table. Maybe we'll do another show like this next week.
Yeah.
And we'll start with that. But so let's go ahead and lighten this show up a bit and get into some this TV talk. All right. So first up, I want to put you guys up on this show. It's another Netflix show, and it's called Rhythm and Flow, and it's Cardi B.
Oh,
it is Tip T.I. Harris and Chance the Rapper.
Yes,
it's a reality contest show, which you guys know I'm usually not into, but I like this. I really like this.
But you like the other music show, too.
I like Songland, too.
Yeah, Songland.
And one of the reasons why I like Songland is because it's not like the typical reality.
Right.
This one, at first, when I first saw the first episode or two, I was going to pitch it as the hip-hop version of Songland, but it's not. It's not. They do some of the stuff that I don't like about reality shows. The one thing, and I would probably say the only thing, really, that they do that I don't like is they do that sob story thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like first of all, this is hip hop. Everybody got a fucking sob story except for like Lil Romeo. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Everybody on the planet got a sob story.
Well, yeah. First of all, they do. Yeah, they do. They really do. And some of these stories, and it's like they're fishing and they're digging. Like you can tell some people, just because you poor, it doesn't really mean that you got like the worst sob story ever. You know what I mean? You just, especially when everybody around you got a similar story. Right. So like some people's story is not even a story; it's their brother. You know what I'm saying? You in here telling me your sob story about how your brother got locked up and your brother in jail.
It's not even you,
bitch. You ain't in jail. You competing for $250,000. That ain't no, you know what I'm saying? So,
stop trying to get me to feel bad for your brother.
Right. Right. Feeling bad for you through your brother by proxy. Like, get the fuck out of here with that.
You ain't been doing shit. You ain't been to community college. You just been sitting on the couch while your brother in jail. That don't make no sense.
So I don't like that part about it. But everything else about it, I pretty much like. I like.
Hilarious.
I was a little bit leery going in too because I'm old school guy and I have